Hi all and welcome to our first Captain Obvious review here on YouTube. Today we are getting our hands on the Backbone One controller for the iPhone. Now before I jump in on our overview of the product, I do want to remind you to hit that subscribe button if you enjoy the content that you're getting, and also slam that like button too if you're feeling super generous. And don't forget that you can find us live on Twitch at twitch.tv/Captain Obvious Gaming multiple days a week, but also get our latest updates through our Facebook, Twitter, Discord, or if you're feeling really rebellious, find us on TikTok. Without further ado, let's go. The Backbone One controller attachment feels like it was designed by Apple specifically for their iPhone due to how clean of a design it has. And the way it snaps into your phone and instantly integrates with the Backbone app makes it super easy to use. I'm a huge fan of how it feels in my hand. Not like cheap plastic, but more like an actual Xbox controller. And speaking of an Xbox controller, it has the same button layout to that of an Xbox controller. So if you're familiar with that type of console, then you should be right at home. The face buttons on this controller have a nice click to them, not a spongy feeling, which provides an authentic gaming experience. But don't let this whole Xbox-like design concern you, as this controller can be utilized for so much more than just Xbox features once it's connected to your phone. Once snapped in, you need to click that orange Backbone button to open up its app. Within the app, you will find social features like friends, previous screen recordings and shares, and even an option to party up and game with others. And once you're in the app, don't forget to find the deals that you get with your new Backbone purchase. I, for one, got a free month of Xbox Ultimate, 2 months to Stadia, a Discord Nitro promo, and much more with this purchase. Outside of the app, I was able to play games through my Xbox Remote Play, but also with the Xbox Cloud Gaming Service. Of course, it also works with Stadia, PlayStation Remote Play, multiple Apple Arcade games, and more. And yes, the $99 tag may be pricey for some, but with the perks that you get, for which I did previously list, as well as the multi-purpose usability, nothing compares to the Backbone. I've tried cheaper options, as well as a clip that attaches onto the back of a controller and then you add your device to it, but I found these options to be cheap and honestly inconvenient. The Backbone doesn't lead to discomfort after long-term use, and in all honesty, it doesn't drain my battery as significantly as I thought it would. I think with all that being said, why don't I just dive into my top pros for the Backbone One controller. Kick off my pros, I must start with the seamless integration across all apps on your iPhone. You just plug this controller in and you open an app, and if it can support controller use, it just works. You don't need to take an extra step to set it up, it just starts working. And if you're not sure what apps or what games that you have that do support controller use, just refer back to that Backbone app. They have a nice menu that you can utilize, and in turn you can see what games you can play with your new controller. With pro number 2, I have the responsiveness of the Backbone One controller. There is zero noticeable delay when you're playing a game. And honestly, if there is, I would almost question maybe your connection, whether it's Wi-Fi or towers. But outside of that, I've enjoyed this. I've not made any mistakes or errors that I can say are due to the delay on my controller. It's been beautiful to use. Finally, when looking over the controller and its design, both its buttons and its ports, I have to give an honorable shout out to the microphone and headphone jack, but also the charging port that you have on the other side. I like the placement of these ports. I like the fact that I can plug in a headset and use that when needed, but I can also charge this device while I'm using it. They really thought of the average consumer and gamer when they created this product. Now with pros, we of course have some cons, so let me circle a few of the things that the Backbone One controller has or doesn't have that I feel like I should talk about. For my first con, I want to talk about the triggers of the Backbone. Now they're there and they work and there's no issue. I just wish that they were a little more, I don't want to say responsive, but you could just feel the use of the trigger. Kind of adaptive, more so like an Xbox or a PlayStation controller, where I click it and I can actually feel the responsiveness of the trigger being utilized. It works, it just feels a little squishy for me, and I wish it was a little sharper in that department, that's all. My second con, and honestly this is the biggest one for me, is the fact that you cannot use your phone in the Backbone controller without removing the case. Now I understand that there's a large variety of cases and shapes and sizes and bulkiness, so the developers probably couldn't take into account case size when creating this product, or it may have not been easy to do so. But I do have to say, when I take my phone out of the case, I fear for its life for about 10 seconds as I slowly pull back and retract the controller and install my iPhone, praying that I do not drop it or destroy it or cause any sort of permanent damage in the process. Finally, on the downside of things is the general design of the controller. Now I'm happy with the buttons, the layout, the ports, all of that. My only thing that I'm not really happy with is how compact it is when you're not using it, when the phone is not on the device. It's got that I formation that it sits in, and I'm also concerned that when I put it in my pocket or if I sit it down somewhere, it may just snap or break if I'm not too careful. So definitely take that into consideration when you're using your Backbone on the go. One final piece that I forgot to mention that doesn't technically have to do with the Backbone controller, but more so for when you're using your cloud gaming and console streaming apps, just try to make sure you're connected to Wi-Fi. Again, this has nothing to do with the Backbone One controller, but more so a tip to ensure a flawless experience when you're playing and gaming on the go. As someone who wasn't an avid user of remote gaming prior to this purchase, I quickly discovered that running primarily off of my phone towers resulted in a jarring experience at times. Enough of that though, as my final thoughts for this product are generally positive. Yes, I do fear for my phone's life when I insert it into the Backbone, and I do wish for a more ideal collapsible situation for the Backbone when it's not in use. And lastly, yes, I did also mention the triggers. They're small, they're non-satisfying when you use them, but these things are small. These things are little, microscopic even, if you're comparing it to all the positives that the Backbone One does bring to the table. The multi-purpose use for so many different apps, services, and features within your iPhone itself compares to nothing that is currently on the market. You just plug it in and it works. And as a consumer, that's all I ever want. That's all I ever need. I would say that the Backbone controller, the Backbone One, is a must buy. And that's where I rest my case. Easy as that. Thank you for your support and your viewership. We definitely look forward to catching you next time. As always, hit us with a subscribe, even a like, and we'll always get you back. Thank you.